Morning. I've been speaking a lot. Interviews, radio, TV, it's a crazy time. Praise God from whom all blessings flow.
Amen.
Every place I go, that's how I begin my expressions. I work for Him first, and the people 1.5. How much time do I have? I need about 2.5 hours. I'm not
Well, I might
kidding.
have to trim some of that.
Make some more coffee.
Give me 20 minutes.
20 minutes is fine. Go
20,
get it rain, huh?
20, so, I was serious to ask the question because my life the last 17 months has been extraordinary. It's been very eventful, very dramatic, very rewarding, and very frustrating. For me to consolidate 17 months into 20 minutes is going to be tough, but I'll give it a shot. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm here today with my lovely wife of 43.5 years. She's my soulmate. And when I count blessings in my life, for 43.5 years of being married to her, she's my number one blessing. She definitely is God sent to me. She is my soulmate, my best friend. A little bit about me. My formal education is in computer science. I have certificates in Help Desk Institute Management as well as Total Quality Management. I'm an efficiency guy. I like T's crossed and I's dotted, quality, meeting and exceeding customer sat, cost effectiveness. I want results, and I drive for that. And for 45 years of my private sector life, I traveled through various organizations, about 7 of them. Never was one to sit around and stay at one place and get my watch after 30 years. I wanted to go places where I could make a difference and get more tools in my tool bag of life, because one day I knew I would have to utilize them to make a difference on a grander stage, and I think that time has come. We have 2 children, Caroline and I, and 8 grandchildren. And I guess the last comment you can chuckle about is tomorrow's my birthday. I'm not the only March 13th birthday person around here, so
Our son.
your son. Election integrity is and will remain my number one issue for this state because of the effect it has on our state and our country. I chose 17 months ago to engage in this, to be all in on this. This is the hill to die on because I can project the probability of it not going away, and it hasn't. That it would grow in urgency and concern with the public, and it has. It's an unresolved situation that has left us with lack of faith and trust in our elections process. It needs closure. Investigations should continue, and they will. Audits should happen, they must. Reclaiming our 10 electoral ballots is something I did in late October, early November, because I could tell that the legislative process was not going to act fast enough, and there was an obvious intent to run out the clock. And I believe that intent has come to fruition to some degree, that you say things and do things, but you don't actually accomplish anything. That's just thrashing to me. That's not efficiency. So I threw a stake in the ground and suggested we do something dramatic because it's something that's ultimately going to be necessary, not just for Wisconsin. Now, there are people perhaps in the room, I know there's some people outside the room, that feel that we can't do this. And I would ask them to do the same thing they asked of me when I engaged in this process. Show me your proof. Show me your evidence. That's standing, that holds water. The Legislative Council memo that was issued to the legislative body in early November does not hold water anymore. It's been debunked by 7 constitutional experts and attorneys. Period. End of story. To use that as leverage to say no, to do the right thing of, by, and for the people, is a disenfranchisement to the people. Period. End of story. There's going to be a very important meeting on the 16th with the speaker, who, in my opinion, and and I know I'm on video, and I know I'm a colleague in the room, and I will say it publicly. Our speaker has been the origin of obstruction for due process in this matter. He has purposefully deceived the legislative body, in my opinion. There is evidence on top of evidence that proves we have a right to reclaim our electors, and they refuse to do it, and it begs the question, why? That question's going to get asked, and it's going to get answered. And I think there's people that don't want it answered. That's why they're doing what they're doing. That's how I feel. I'm not alone. I'm on the record. Thank you, Julie. Enough about election integrity, except for one final comment. The character that I have displayed during this process, which has been uphill, slippery slope, and obstruction on top of obstruction for 17 months, is a reflection of how I am with everything that matters. It brings out true leadership, courage, conviction, passion, sense of urgency. That's me. With everything, not just election integrity. For example, medical freedom, upholding constitutional rights, and ending tyranny in this state. Right up there. 132 legislators in the body in Madison. One wrote 5 resolutions, joint resolutions, to end the mandates and the lockdowns in the state of Wisconsin. It started before the 60-day period ended, which was from March 20th to basically May 20th of 2020. State Statute 323.10 and 252.02 for Department of Health Services allows the governor 60 days to assess what's going on with an emergency and do something about it. I didn't think he would stop after 60 days, before 60 days came. So I even wrote a resolution to end it before 60 days. I knew it wasn't going to work, but I did it anyway because I was making a point. My problem is, I kind of just told you who was the one representative or one legislator, but of 132 legislators, one, me, wrote 5 resolutions. Couldn't get a senator to sign on. Kind of like election integrity resolutions, you know, fear, favoritism, and funding, got them. Nobody wants to move. I don't fear any of that stuff. I've given up my position in the assembly. I could run for re-election 5 more terms. Wouldn't have to spend a dime. Because the people in the 59th adore what I do. I have a sure thing. And I'm giving it up to run for governor because unfinished business in the state has to be addressed by somebody who has the characteristics that I do that will get it done. I don't sit around and watch paint dry on any issue. I don't watch grass grow well at all. And that's what's happening in our government right now.
Yeah.
Too slow, not disciplined enough, and not direct enough to resolve problems. Just kicking cans down the road doesn't work for me. So I'm stepping out of the body, and I'm going to try another opportunity. If it works for me, when it works for me,
Yes.
with the support of the people, buckle up. Now, because we have so many questions about our elections process, and nothing's going to get fixed between now and November 2022, maybe it doesn't work for me. Then I get to stay home and play with my cat. You're going to not have a fighter in government if that happens. So if you think there's a sense of urgency, or you think there needs to be one, you're right. For such a time as this, we prayed
Amen.
on leaders. We need them. I'm a humble servant of the Lord. I'm a vessel to Him. I work for the people. It's hard for me to say that I'm that person, but I'm that person.
Yes.
I don't like talking about me. I can talk about anyone here. If I know you a little bit, I can make you walk on water just like that. Talking about me, I don't like doing that. It Talking about a couple of priorities, we'll try to wrap this up. Okay, we're getting close to 20. Education, not indoctrination.
Yes.
I'm the seated school board member for the Kewaskum School District. I'm vice president. We don't have problems like this in Kewaskum. Why? Because you have people on the board that know better. And if they don't, I educate them real fast. So we have containment, we have oversight, we have leadership from our board to our administration. We don't allow CRT, Project 1619. And when I'm governor, I'm going to go back and look at what happened in 2010 with former Governor Doyle and former state superintendent, DPI superintendent Tony Evers, and look at what they did regarding Common Core. Just snuck
Thank you.
that in the back door for $3.4 million. 0 hearings. Act 10 at the time, which you guys probably all heard about. Remember Act 10 Skywalker? 72 hearings. Common Core at 0. That's crap. That doesn't fly for me. Won't work. We're going to fix that. Government accountability. I will assess and analyze each agency and its productivity, how it's organized, how it's structured, what it costs our state taxpayers to perform a function that needs to meet and exceed expectation. If it doesn't, it's going to get an enema. Not just any agency, all of them. DPI included.
Yes.
DNR. I need to look at what's going on with the DNR. There's too much draconian acts coming out of that group. They're doing stuff, I think, that's kind of like internal to themselves. It's not through statute, it's not through due process. We need to fix these things. I want the people's voice to be heard.
Yes.
And it will. Pro-life, without exception. Life begins at conception. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is allowed and affordable to the child in the womb who the Lord knew before it was there.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our place to mess with the Lord's will. I don't care how the conception occurred. People can argue about that and have exception about condition. It happened. It's not the child's fault. The child should not be killed for that. Also, baby body parts and all this crap that goes on. Done. Nipping that. Should have been done a long time ago. We had the trifecta in this state
Yes.
in 15 and 17 when Assembly Rep Andre Jacques put Assembly Bill 305 forward to eliminate the use of baby body parts, and it didn't pass.
Disgusting.
And I won't mention the name of the representative at the time who helped kill that bill, but he happens to be married to a gubernatorial candidate. Talk pro-life, better walk it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's not pro-life. So as electorates, you look at the people talking to you about what they're going to do when they're in the office, make sure they're crystal clear on that. You can't be 100% pro-life and have exceptions. That's not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
First responders, back the badge, EMT, veterans, fire departments. These people work for us, work for our bodies, and work for our properties 24/7, 365. We need them. They will get great support under the Ramthun administration.
Yay.
Fiscal responsibility. Sometimes I'm told I'm so tight I squeak when I walk. Not squeaking today. Touches on the earlier comment about government accountability. T-Cross and I-Dot, due process, cost effectiveness, return on investment, value for the taxpayer, all of that. But I would like to suggest that I would be open to talking about a flat tax. This state taxes too much. Minimally, we have to reduce the sliding scales and cut the withholdings across the board. We did a little bit of that in the last budget, not enough. We need to do more. And you have a $3.8 billion surplus currently projected for this budget. What does that tell you? a couple of things. It might lend a little bit of that economic recovery element to it, that's true. But in my opinion, we're taxing too much. And then people will say, well, let's do this and let's spend it this way, or let's give it back to the taxpayer. And I'm like, yeah, we could do that. We could do that. But how about we not take it in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I have to suggest do. So leave it where it belongs with the people who earned it, and make the government work with less. That's what we do at home, right?
Yes.
When you don't have enough money to buy something you need or want, you either figure out a way to do it or you go without.
Yep.
Why can't the government operate the same way? That's how I think. The last point, and I'm about to the 19th minute here, I'd like to touch on is there is a divisive attitude in the legislative body in Madison. This is one of the attributes, or one of the experience factors I bring to the table that no other candidate has. I'm in the body and I can see from inside out. Outside in is a different view than inside out. Let me tell you, you're going to find out when you're a school board member. Julie,
I'm ready.
you're ready. See, so am I. You're ready. Anyway, us against them. It's not a good attitude to have when you're working out by and for people, with people. Now, I'm not saying I'm in any alignment with a Democrat philosophically. I think Democrats have a whole different philosophy on a lot of things. However, each one of the 38 members in the assembly body who represent their districts have the same responsibility. They're beholden to 59,000 people approximately. Some are more Democrats, some are Republicans. My district's about a 97.5 Republican district. I know where the 2.5% Democrats live, by the way. Because when I do doors, I do doors. I don't do voter propensity. I do all doors. Nobody gets missed when I'm doing doors. And I did 6,900 of them, 100 of them by myself in 2018. I didn't farm it out to anybody. Because I'm the candidate. I signed up for the job. I said I want to do it. And I went to meet them all, 6,900. By myself. And on days when it was hot, 115 in the shade, had to take an umbrella along. Or when it was pouring rain, still had the same umbrella, but for a different reason. There were footprints, and sometimes they weren't mine. So I had footprints in the sands moments when I was campaigning. But back to my point about divisive attitude. There's individuals, they're human beings, they're loved, they're responsible, they have ideas, they might not be the right ideas, they might not be the same as mine, but we gotta listen to them and apply them to the discussion, to formulate a debate, to get to an action, to do something right out by and for the people.
Yep.
And in doing so, it could take some of what they would like to see done off the table, because we can have a discussion and say, well, you say you like this and we don't, here's why we don't, and you can tell us why you do, and if the don'ts outweigh the likes, well then, you know what, let's stop beating each other up over it. Let's stop arguing and finger pointing, because all they do is use it for election fodder. And they draw the people into this argument like, oh, they said this and they said that, and we're this and we're that, so vote for us. Maybe that's okay, but it doesn't accomplish anything. I would like to see things get done. So you've got to involve the people and bring them to the table. That's why I ran for governance in the first place. I wanted to be at the table. I look to be at every table come November 9th and beyond. I could go on, honestly, gosh, for a long time. There's a lot to tell you guys, but
Are you taking off after this, Kim, or you
I
just gonna
might,
roll?
I don't know. I'm gonna hang around for a little while.
Good,
I
good.
gotta talk to Donna before I go. And I'm glad she's here. Thanks, Donna, for coming. I won't let you down. I will not waver. I'm not done with election integrity yet. I'd like to tell you what I'd like to tell you what's coming down the pipe, but I don't want to see anything public yet. But it's significant. Accountability has to be applied here, and when people are deceiving members of the body I serve, they need to be held accountable, and it's coming. Tim's truth train is on its way.
All right.
Woohoo!
I will not waver. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I can't do this without you. I ask for your vote. I need your vote on August 9th for the primary. And last but not least, I need your vote on November 8th to win. On a party comment I made in public last night, so I'll share it here as well. The Republican Party of Wisconsin requires gubernatorial candidates to have $100,000 or more and 1,000 donors or more by March 15th. I found this out on February 15th after I announced on February 12th. Gave me a month. We superseded both numbers tangibly in 3.5 weeks. 3.5 weeks, the RVW has no excuse to prohibit me from anything because I met and exceeded the goal in less time than anyone expected. So I'm way past the 100 and the 1,000, and it's still climbing. And I will tell you that the number reflects the grassroots, the patriot groups, the GOP county chairs and their members who support me across this entire state. It has nothing to do with PAC money, big donors. The largest donation I got was $5,000. For the governor's position, the maximum donation is 20. I didn't get 20, I didn't get 15 or 10. I got a 5-1. Everything else is down below. So, the number, the dollar number, isn't a dollar sign to me. It's the voice of the people who have said, you're our guy. Thank you to the people.